All right. Good evening, everybody. So we're starting the show this week on a Tuesday. I took Monday off, so we're gonna dive back in with a couple boxers this week, and also another phone app as well. So my first guest this week it's gonna be Frank Nitty Trader. He's a great prospect, fighting out of Philly. We're going to learn about him balancing a full-time job, also being a boxer as well. Looks like Frank's requesting to join, so I'm going to get him on now. 1 second, everybody. We're just waiting for connection. Hey, Frank, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for jumping on the live with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, cool. So for everyone that doesn't know, this is Frank Nitty Trader. He's a prospect from Philly. He's 13-2-1 with 3 knockouts. He's also fighting on the Philly special card on June 19th, which is action-packed card. So we're gonna get to know Frank a little bit too. So I usually like to do like an intro of how I met you, but I never met you, but I was at one of your fights. I was at your last fight against a friend of the show, Jerome Conquest at Parks.
Yeah, big up to Conquest. Yeah.
Yes. So before I jump into questions, I actually wanted to ask you, was that a tough fight for you? Like, what was that like to fight a guy like Rome?
Rome, he's a pretty tough guy. He definitely got skills. He's a crafty southpaw, and he's definitely got long arms. So he definitely was difficult to actually get in range of. But I had to raise my IQ in that fight after we had a clash of his in the 3rd round, and basically I just raised my IQ and just put on a boxing clinic after that.
Oh, okay. Now, even though you're still going and all, and you've had a lot of fights, was that probably one of your toughest victories that you've had as of yet, or was that just one of them?
No, that was just one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
If I can remember his name, I think it's Louis Esquilas. He was a southpaw. I fought him at the Blue Horizon. I think that was my 4th professional fight.
Yeah.
He was a tough southpaw, from the Badlands of Philly, and he came in ready. But I also came in ready to prepare also. But I think Louis Esquila was more like a technique fight. He was more crafty, more slick as a southpaw, and he was more game. I think Louis Esquilas, he was my toughest opponent.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually funny that you touched up on that, because I was actually going to ask you later on in the interviews, I noticed your first 3 fights, they were like in Boston and also in the Connecticut area, but your 4th fight was at the famous Blue Horizon. So what was that like to fight in front of? I'm sure you had a bunch of friends and family come out and show love to you. So what was that like to fight in front of your friends and family for the first time as a pro?
It was an honor to fight for my first time in Philly, at the Blue. My first fight was on ESPN, but the 4th fight was at the Blue Horizon in Philadelphia. I was happy about that because my family and friends came out there. But let me tell you a secret. In that fight, my boxing shoes was too small. We had ordered boxing shoes and they came back, but for some reason they came back the wrong size.
Oh man.
And so basically when I was fighting Louis Esquilas, my toes was actually bunched up in the boxing shoes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like it was a whole size smaller, and I had to fight through that.
Oh, that must have sucked. that must have been brutal.
It definitely was.
All right, so I'm gonna jump into the interview for like the beginning questions that I usually ask for like all the other boxers. So, why don't you tell everyone what part of Philly are you from?
I'm from West Philly.
West Philly.
Yeah.
All right. What age did you start boxing at?
You said what?
I'm sorry. What age did you start boxing at?
Well, I was in the gym around like 9 years old, but just running in and out the gym. But at 10 is when I actually started taking it serious. I
Okay.
had my first tournament was the Golden Gloves, and I fought Ray Robinson from Johannes. In that tournament, I won the whole tournament.
Oh wow.
My first 6 fights was actually the Golden Gloves. I won all 6 straight.
Oh wow. So you had a great amateur background too, from what I was reading and all. So like it doesn't have to be your last fight as an amateur, but like which fight did you know that you were ready to like jump into being a pro?
Well, honestly, my last amateur fight, I was in the Eastern Olympic trials. I had got a bronze medal, which I should have won, but it was politics. You know how the politics is.
Yeah.
Um, I took off because my best friend got killed.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So like boxing at that time really wasn't fun to me. So then I became a father early at 19. So it was more like me being a father, and then me me working, trying to stay out of trouble. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go pro so I can, because I know I can fight. So, but I wanted to stay amateur and like go out and try to like win a national first before I turned pro, but I didn't have the opportunity, so I just turned pro. So it was like a year and a half since my last amateur fight before I turned pro.
Before you turn pro. Okay, wow. That's interesting. All right, so jumping into your pro debut, I don't mean to make you sound old, but I was a junior in high school when you made your pro debut. It was May 7th, 2008 in Boston. You had a unanimous decision win against Luis Rosario. So I usually like to ask boxers this, just to give people a feel of what it's like to be in the ring. So what were your nerves like? Like, was it like everyday business? Or did you have butterflies? Were you nervous for your first pro fight?
I was definitely nervous. I'm not gonna hold you. It was, because I had the possibility to be on ESPN that night. So I definitely was nervous. I think it was a Mike Oliver card. I think he was the main event or the co-main. I think he was the co-main. I'm not sure. I forget. But they was like, Frank, you won, and we definitely gonna televise you. I was in the back warming up, and when they told me that, I was like, oh man.
Oh man.
Oh man, then I was fighting a vet, so it was like, he had like 20 something or 30 something fights at the time, I think. It was just, I had butterflies. The butterflies was crazy. I
Yeah.
went there. Once the bell rang and you get popped at least once or get touched, it just the butterflies
Right.
just like automatically.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you zone out after that.
Yeah. All right. So my next question. So I usually like to ask this too, because like a lot of people usually go through a lot of ups and downs in sports. So I just wanted to know. So your first loss was against Adrian Perez, and it looked like it was very very close decisions because I was like looking at your records and stuff. So like both losses were very very close. So
Did you
what
read because I
what's
didn't
that?
lose. If you read the article, I ain't lose. If
You
you
didn't lose?
read, they said Frankie won the fight. They don't know what the judge was looking at.
Right.
He basically, Frankie put on a boxing clinic. He shouldn't have lost that fight. So, but truth be told, I don't want to get into all the details
Right.
of what he
Of
took
course.
and why they decide to give me a loss. When, long story short, they gave me a draw, then they gave me a loss, and then they gave me a W. And then when I went home, it was still on there saying the W. And then like next 2 days, I go back on Box Rec. They changed it back to a loss.
That's
But I'm not
terrible.
going to why that took
Right.
place. because I'm on live, but it was just, it was wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
So like for that mindset, because like of course you're feeling a lot of anger and stuff. Did you just move on and prep for your next fight, or did you take a little bit of time to reflect on that first loss?
it hurt.
Yeah, I can
It
imagine.
hurt. Because you know you won. I know I won. Um, it was hard, like going back to the gym, facing everybody.
Right.
Um, you know, because you always got critics and stuff like that.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
um, but I went on. I went back to the drawing board, and I got back to winning. You know, and then before you even jump into the second one with Adrian Burgess, I'm gonna just before I got into that fight, I had a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Yeah, I was fighting with a dislocated shoulder as a pro for a long period of time.
Wow.
I was winning some fights, and the fights that that was close, like which I got a loss, and no excuse, but I had a dislocated shoulder. You know,
Right. I
every
can't
time
imagine the pain.
it would pop out.
Oh,
It would pop in and out, like and it was frustrating to a point where it's though like I have it up, and I hit the guy, and it just pop out again.
oh,
But it was hard for me to like defend myself also.
right. All right. So last question on the shoulder. So you had a little bit of a layoff in boxing. Was that just to let the shoulder heal, or was that also just to get with the right boxing promoter too?
Both, more of the shoulder, because I had to get two surgeries. So it was once I got surgeries, I had to go to therapy, had to
Hmm.
do that. Then I had to get the feel of me actually boxing in the ring, sparring with the guys all over again to see how I actually would or I react to it. And I had to build muscle. I had to go through therapy for like 8 months.
Oh,
So yeah, and that kept me out for a while. And then just trying to like find the right people, find the right promoter and everything. It just that took time. You know what I'm saying? It's just around that time I was more into my kids, like just focusing more on them. Uh, it was just a lot. It was a lot going on at that time. So then I got with somebody that they gave me an opportunity to get some fights, and we have actually just branched off, but we still cool, we still friends, but I had to move on also. But
hmm.
I fought 3 times since I've been off in 7 months, and I won all three straight.
Yep. Yeah, like when you made the comeback in 2018, the present, it looked like you didn't miss a beat. You were just beating your opponents well and stuff. So, are you looking forward to get back in June? I mean, of course, with the coronavirus, of course, it got pushed back to June or something that you could do. But how excited are you to be on the Philly special? And how did you wind up on that card? Because I know, shout out to Raging Babe, of course, but she does a great job putting all the fighters Philly versus Philly. So how'd you wind up on that card?
Pelts,
Pelts.
Russell Pelts, yeah, at the signing with Pelts, he gave Raging Bait a call and told her, Frankie be a good fit on that card. Um, and she gave me an opportunity to get on the card. And
That's cool.
yeah.
How do you like working with her? Because like she's like really upbeat, has like a lot of energy. So has it been great to work with her and all through this with like the promoting and all?
Yeah, we met only a few times. We spoke every time we met. It was a long conversation. I recently seen her at the show at Rodney Rice show he just had at 20th Arena. I was with her. We had a long conversation. We sat by ringside. Um, I think she's a dope person. I think what she's doing for Philly boxing is definitely awesome.
Yes.
Um, she seemed very active, very busy. She seemed like she's 100% all the way in with the promotion. and I think she's going to do big things. Honestly,
Of course, yes. Do you have a prediction for the main event? Because like like it's like been the talk of all the gyms, like Stevie Ortiz and Damon Allen. Do you have a prediction of who do you think would win?
I'm going with Baby Dame.
You going Baby Dame?
I
Yeah.
grew up with Baby Dame. We from the same block. Um, I used to spar him when we was kids, growing up. And I just know him. I know that he gonna bring he gonna bring West Philly out of him. He definitely gonna dig deep and bring it out of him. I just think he's gotta stay smart, box, um, set traps, stay on his toes, and just fight his fight. And I think he's gonna be the winner that night.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for giving me that prediction. So my next question is, how did you wind up becoming a Pelts fighter? And to follow up that, how great is it to fight for a Hall of Fame matchmaker as well as in Russell Peltz?
Man, Pelts. Well, at one point, Pelts was like one of my critics. At one point,
Oh
um,
wow.
he was. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. Um, when you walk into his establishment, you'll see that Pelts is all about boxing.
Hmm.
Everywhere in his establishment is just like a museum. You know, when you go in there, you see all the crates on the wall. You know, it's something to definitely go see and go visit if you're a boxing fan. Um, but I reached out to him. We kind of like spoke after Conquest fight that we was gonna like do some business together or whatever, but we just never actually got around to it after that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I hit him up not too long ago, and I asked him that, like, what's up? Like, let's do this, and he's like, all right, well, let's do this. So I got on board.
Okay. Let me see what I got. Okay, so my next question is, so like other boxers in Philly, you're balancing a full-time job and also being a professional boxer as well. So what is that like? Because I'm sure like some days you're like tired from working a full day and you don't want to box. But why don't you tell us what that's like to balance both?
It's it's no joke. Like working a full-time job, getting off work, coming home to your kids, making sure they good, and then going to the gym. It's like knowing when somebody get off working a 9 to 5, they go home, they go relax. Nah, I don't. I go home, I go to the gym. I'm in the gym for maybe 2.5 hours. I might leave my gym, go to LA Fitness for an hour. By the time I get home, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's every single day, Monday through Friday. So it's definitely a challenge sometimes. Sometimes, like some days when it's like the weather real bad, it's real cold. You like, I just want to go home, get in bed after work.
Right.
But I got another job to do. I gotta go do what I love to do. I love to fight, so I go to the gym. And it's hard getting in there, but when you get in there, everything just becomes so easy. And then you happy that you actually. I'm happy when I get in there.
Okay. And and I know you work in the medical field. So is there a fear of like what you're doing now with everything that's happening with
Yeah,
COVID-19? Yeah.
it's definitely because I got a family, so it's like I gotta go to work. I gotta be
Yeah.
around. I gotta be around. If people come in with the virus or it just I'm accustomed to it, I gotta be around it. I gotta do my duty. So
Hmm.
it's definitely scary, but we're taking all necessary precautions at my job. So I wear a mask throughout the building, but it's still rough.
Yeah. Well, I know that me and my followers are very appreciative of what you're doing because I know that you have to go to work. So we're definitely appreciative of you going in every day and of course just trying to stay safe too.
Right.
All right, and then so of course we're just waiting to get out of the stay at home, and you got the Philly special coming up. But so after the Philly special, like, what do you have planned? Do you want
Oh,
to try to move up with?
big names. Um, Pelts. I talked to Pelts after this fight. God willing, I get the win. Um, we're just going at the big names. You know, trying to get in the top 15 in the world. Fighting the top 15 in the world, and just getting on the big cards.
That's great. Are you trying to move like maybe after this fight to like the 8 to 10 rounders?
Well, I'm in 8 rounders.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm in 8 rounders. So after this fight, definitely 10 rounders. Definitely 10 rounders after that. With somebody with a name actually. So
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. Definitely. All right. So I have two more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. My first one is I usually like to ask this to the boxers as well. So like leading up to a fight? Like, what's your training like, and what is your nutrition like? What are the type of foods and junk that you try to take out that you would eat on a regular basis in order to get fit?
bananas, oranges, green vegetables, and like vegan burgers. I love vegan burgers, veggie burgers. Um, and like I stay away from meat. I don't mess with meat. Uh, I do chicken every now and then, like grilled chicken or baked chicken, and sometimes fish, but not all the time. But sometimes, but mainly like my green vegetables and my fruits and stuff like that, and like my protein shakes and stuff like that. And that's about it. I don't really mess with junk food unless it's fruit snacks. Other than that, I don't mess with junk food.
Okay. And then is it just like a lot of running, or do you try to mess with the weights a lot, or is it all
Yeah,
like cardio?
I do a lot of running for like 5 to 6 miles, 3 to 5 miles, most likely day in, day out. Every other day, I'm constantly running. Like 7 days out of the week, I might be running 4 days out of the week. You
Oh, okay.
know, and each day be like 5 or 6 miles. Sometimes on my lazy day, I might do 3. But other than that, I'm always running. And I go to LA Fitness all the time. So after my workouts, after the boxing gym, I go to LA Fitness and get a workout in.
Okay. And then my last question. So this is like a fun one. I've been trying to get like a poll with like the boxers and any other people that I interview. So what's your favorite cheesesteak spot? It doesn't have to be a cheesesteak. It could be chicken cheesesteak.
I ain't had a cheesesteak in a while though. Honestly, it's a couple spots. It's definitely a couple spots. I had Geno's twice.
Okay.
I had Geno's twice out of my whole life. Only twice. Only twice. They was pretty good. But like Jim cheesesteak, definitely. Um, and it's a spot called Dino's that I like also.
Is that the one in AC or is there one in Philly? I think
What
there's
Dino?
one like in Margate or like in AC too. Dino's.
No, I don't know if it's an AC, but it's up where I live at.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, well, Frank, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. For everyone that wants to see Frank Nitty Trader in action, he will be on the Philly special card June 19th, and we're really looking forward to seeing him fight.
Yep. I see
All
you
right.
there.
Thank you I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
No problem. God bless. All right.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was Frank Nitty Trader. So we learned about his boxing career and also what it's like to balance a full-time job and boxing as well. So for tomorrow, I should be back at 12. I confirmed Sonny the Bronco Conto, South Philly's heavyweight prospect, will be on. And then I'm waiting to confirm with Steve Cunningham. He also might be on as a guest too, or if he cannot, I'll try to get him later in the week or possibly next week. But Sunny Conto tomorrow for everyone that wants to tune in. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great night.